Are you guys familiar with the dancing baby, kind of hailed by many as the original digital meme?
Ooga chaka, ooga, ooga, ooga chaka.
This baby would actually be in their late 20s today if they'd continued to age. I was maybe 13 or so around the time of the dancing baby, and let me tell you, I love the dancing baby. Not just because I love 3D graphics, and not just because me and my brother used to go around going ooga chaka, ooga, ooga, ooga chaka all the time, but because back then it kind of represented something to me. It represented this future and this hope that I was going to grow up and see all sorts of things that had never existed before. And although it seems sort of laughable today, like those computer graphics like seemed really cool to me back then, kind of brings me back to this time like earlier in the internet's history where it seemed like there was a type of fairness where sort of anyone could make it, and it's not like the sort of traditionally best content, rose to the top necessarily, but the things that did rise up or went viral or whatever, they always had something about them that was sort of genuine or fascinating or that really resonated with people.
I said what in the butt. I said what in the butt. I said what in the butt. I said what in the butt.
And I think the rising of the digital memes is sort of a great example of what the early internet kind of represented. And the ones that succeeded, it felt like they captured something real, if sometimes, absurd or a bit bizarre, but it felt like they captured something real about the human condition. But of course, early internet, wasn't just about the memes. It was that basically people who were clever or had a new way of thinking about things, they were kind of able to rise up and reach other people in a way that they just hadn't been able to before. Before the internet, our culture was sort of locked up by people who had the resources to either sort of generate content for TV or print media, but once the internet came around, like any random Yahoo could just put something out there, and it kind of felt like there was a sort of fairness to whether it sunk or swam. The traditional people who had always had this sort of vice lock control over our culture, they lost a bit of that control for like maybe a decade or two. But now, sadly, I do kind of feel like elements of this are coming to an end. And they're coming to end for very predictable reasons, or one very predictable reason: money. Advertisement has been basically a part of the internet from the beginning, in some form, but there's been a rise of a particularly toxic type of advertisement, and it's a type of advertisement that I would call pay to play. So to explain what I mean by this, I'd like to compare ads from YouTube and Google. So let's say I search for the best drill on YouTube. You will see that a bunch of ads sort of pop up, and these are kind of, they almost remind me of old school banner ads. It's very clear that they're ads. If you accidentally click on one of these ads, you immediately realize that you've clicked on an ad. It's not ambiguous. And if we click on the top videos in the search, it looks like we're actually on like an authentic channel of somebody who really cares about tools if we kind of click through here. And, and in a good way, this almost feels like old school internet to me. You know what the ads are, you know what the content is, there's no ambiguity. You can choose to look at the ads if you want, but it's not really confusing. However, if we kind of repeat the exact same search and we look at the top result on Google, which by the way, their entire product is that they are supposed to help you, connect you to good content. So if we look at the top result, what we see is something that looks like an objective review site, but it's actually an advertisement. You can see the sort of ad links here, but it's put in as if it was almost an organic search result. So if we look at the page and we examine the links and the stuff they're showing us on the page, what we see is these are actually Amazon affiliate links, although they are not clearly marked as such. Just quickly, because I do occasionally use affiliate links myself, I'll show you how you can tell. If you click through here, you'll see the beginning of the link. You'll see this ID number, but you won't see the product name. So Amazon tends to put the product name in their URLs because it helps with sort of search optimization. And so if you see kind of a link with no product name, there's a good chance it is an affiliate link. If I do a quick search on Amazon for the same product with this title, you see that when I click it on through the Amazon search, you see there's the product title in the link. And so I'm pretty sure that whoever is hosting this quote-unquote objective review site is actually making money on the links that they're putting up there. And so I would argue that they're being a little bit deceptive about what they're doing here. They're trying to look like an objective review site, but the true nature that they're kind of just putting up a bunch of ads hoping to make money off of you is hidden. They do specify here in this text that they may earn a commission if you click on a link. They are legally obligated to say that, by the way. Amazon will cancel their affiliate status if they don't disclose. But to me, it really looks like they are trying to cast this site as organic content. They're trying to make it rank in the organic search. They're trying to make it look like similar organic sites, but there are subtle differences you can spot if you look for it. But the larger issue of what's happening here is effectively that Google's front page is being diluted with inauthentic search results. These are results that are not being returned to you because they answer your question the best. They are being returned to you because someone has paid to put them there. And by the way, Google didn't used to have ads. For a long time, they had no ads. And then for a while, they only had these little side ads. So they did have ads, but it was very clear that they were ads and they were not the organic search results. And then at the beginning, they used to only have one tiny little sponsored ad right at the top of the organic search results. But now basically everything above the fold, which is everything that you can see when you load the page, it's all sponsored content, all ads. It's not real search results. Now, if we compare this to YouTube, even though YouTube also has ads, both ads at the beginning of the videos and banner ads, they're not actually diluting their search results, right? So I like the way YouTube handles ads more than how Google handles ads. And YouTube is still to some degree operating as a kind of meritocracy, where good content and the most relevant videos to your questions or interests have a chance to rise to the top. But another place you see this dissolution of meritocracy is on the actual seller platforms themselves, which is unfortunate because you would think these guys would have enough money from actually selling things to not have to do this. But if you go and you look at either Amazon or Etsy, you will see the entire first line of search results in the ads is placed by sellers. I searched for chapstick on Etsy because they're not super known for their drills. But you see it's kind of the same thing on both. The top 4 products, or effectively the things that you can see above the fold, the items you're guaranteed to see, are all ads. Actually, if we look at Amazon's page in particular, if we look through all 6 lines of their content, 4 of those 6 lines are advertisements and only 2 are organic search results. But actually, even more disturbing than that, to rank in Amazon's organic search results, you have to have enough reviews. And well, who are the people who are going to get the most reviews? Well, people who have paid for advertisement are often the people who will have the most reviews. If you shop on Amazon or you notice this, you will often see a sponsored advertisement, and then you'll see the same item show up in the organic search. What is disturbing about this to me is it means to even rank in the organic search in many categories, you will basically have to have purchased ads to get enough ratings to rank organically, right? And so what this means is if you're like a little guy and you don't have a huge advertising budget, like you're not going to outcompete the big guys on the ads, and then you're probably not going to be able to rank. So in order for your stuff to be seen at all on Amazon, either in ads or in organic search, you have to have a pretty substantial advertising budget. You can't just be this little guy making quirky one-off things anymore. And that, was sort of the original appeal of the internet. Well, to me anyway. I've personally actually had an analogous experience on Facebook. So I have a written blog, and a few years back, it wasn't actually super uncommon for pieces of my blog to go viral on Facebook. So I have a Facebook page, and it has about 8,000 or so followers where I post my blog or sometimes these videos or whatever. And anyway, so I stopped writing my blog for a bit, and then I started again, and my stuff wasn't really going viral anymore, and I kind of figured maybe my writing had just gotten worse or whatever. And I was like, okay, well, it is what it is. I made peace with it. I maybe get around 3 or 4 comments and maybe 1 or 2 shares. And I was like, okay, that's sort of enough. But then by coincidence, I just happened to start another Facebook page, basically to just sort of test a website that I'm working on the side. And so my website's still in development, but I wanted to have a Facebook page so I didn't look like this embarrassing nobody. So I had 0 followers on my Facebook page, and then I would just do these little cute animal posts and then pay money to boost the post, right? Like I'd toss $10 at it. I don't love doing that, but I was like, I figured whatever, a cute animal is not going to radicalize anyone. I'll just do it, and so I can run my user testing on my site. And what the difference in performance between my two pages is substantial. And and on the one hand, yes, you can't really compare cute animal pictures with somber blog posts about the world situation, but it is significant that a page with 0 followers is able to get more traction than a page with 8,000 followers if you use money. And the flip side of it is many of the people who follow my page, like my friends, they sort of complained to me, or they told me they didn't know I was writing again because Facebook hadn't notified them. So we're in a situation where even people who sign up or want to see my content will not be shown my content. But if I pay money, people who haven't signed up and haven't agreed to look at anything that I'm producing, I can just reach them. My reach on my Facebook page, it's definitely in the tens of thousands, maybe even hundreds of thousands, despite having far fewer people who have consented to it. And then my page, which actually has 8,000 followers, maybe reaches a few hundred people. And people will and on, make up all sorts of reasons for this. But to me, honestly, what it looks like what is happening is that Facebook is prioritizing content that makes them money over content that users have signed up for or that they may want or find interesting. And so I would argue that this is a dilution of the quality of their main product, which is Facebook posts. Like how in search it was sort of Google search results, Facebook's product is Facebook posts, and they are diluting the quality of it by doing this type of thing. Of course, Facebook isn't really an outlier here. You see sponsored pay-for-play content on Twitter, on Reddit, and Instagram, on things that probably young people use that I have no idea what it is. And again, it's not just the advertisement I object to, but it's this pay to play. It's where the organic substance or the main feature of the site is diluted or watered down so that people who can pay for it are effectively allowed to show lower quality content alongside or often even higher up than content that has been determined by whatever ranking algorithm they're using to be high quality. So basically people with more money are allowed to put out shittier content for you to consume. And in fact, part of why I like YouTube and part of why I decided to invest a bit deeper into it is that YouTube ads aren't really diluting the quality of their own content in the same way. And then also people can pay to turn off some of the ads too, which I also like. But YouTube has still managed to monetize itself very well. YouTube has also become actually one of the biggest search engines on the web. And I think part of it is it's one of those few places where, you have high faith that your search results are search results that have been determined to be high quality. They are not search results that people have paid to rank. And so what do we do about this? Well, part of the problem is that many of these companies do have either partial monopolies or something called like an oligopoly, I think is how you say it, where a number of companies basically control the whole industry. However, they don't have a complete monopoly, so it's not impossible for competing companies to arise. So while a lot of these corporations are able to dilute their content perhaps beyond what is ideal for the consumer, there is a limit to how far they can go. And to some degree, you can train yourself not to pay attention to it. In fact, there are reasons why the ads are getting more aggressive is basically over time, people get better at ignoring them. However, unfortunately, as the economy tightens and with the war and sanctions and stuff, I do think advertisement is likely to get worse and more aggressive before it gets better. But there are definitely people in there right now who are looking to change some of this. So I found some kind of cool stuff like researching this. So Neeva.com is a search engine, and they don't do ads. The way they monetize is that a certain number of people will pay for a subscription. But what's particularly interesting about Neeva is, if I search for sort of best drills, they explicitly call out that these are not sponsored. That these have come from popular websites. And so I especially like that they seem to be very aware of a lot of the problems that is sort of plaguing Google. And in fact, actually, if you look at the About Us, they are ex-Google sort of YouTube people. Of course, Wikipedia and similar sort of stuff, that's still great. They are funded by donations. They don't do advertisement, and that decision from back in the day has really aged well, I think. I also found this cool thing like Gravity AI. They're trying to become a new type of social media company. I thought it was neat, but they don't actually exist yet. I got put on their waiting list. I don't know if these kind of new companies are going to take off, but what's the existence of them kind of indicates that this stuff is kind of bubbling up beneath the surface. And if any of these companies take advertisement too far, they are going to start losing out to these sort of new guys. So my prediction, frankly, is that most of these big companies are not going to change their advertising policy. They're just too big and too reliant on that income, and they just couldn't take the financial hit of like, slashing their ad revenue. So I do think it's going to take a new player to kind of supplement or replace these industry standards. And maybe one day places like Facebook and Google will just be where you go when you want to look at ads, and then certain other websites will be the places where you go when you want to connect with people or where you want to find reliable information. It actually kind of reminds me of what happened with broadcast television. Basically, broadcast television just went way overboard on the ads, and then that spurred on new types of innovation like DVRs, and now people are just willing to pay for, Hulu or Netflix or whatever, and we don't really have to see TV ads anymore the way that we used to. And I think that something is going to happen with these big companies on the internet because they've just pushed it too far, and it's just driven the quality down too low. But anyway, I look forward to these new future replacements. They can't get here soon enough. And well, I hope you have a good day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.